Hey guys, it's Mark Zazeski at Revizto, and today we're going to walk through why Revit users should be using Revizto on their projects. So starting off here in Revit, we're going to walk through our export process to get the model data into Revizto. So similar to a product like Navisworks, Revizto is not designing or manipulating the content. We're just identifying design issues or coordination issues within Revizto. So first off, we got to get the platform and the information into Revizto, and in our case, we're going to use Revit. So first off, we're going to come to the export scheduler up here on the top left. We're underneath the Revizto toolbar, and we can select if we'd like to export a new project. So here we can select some parameters. We'd like to bring in 3D views, phases, point clouds, etc. We can also jump into here to sheets, and we're going to be able to see all of our sheets if those are listed within our project. If you guys are utilizing the 18 or 19 or even 20 now, 20 supports parallel export, so we can use multi-thread. The reason it says beta here is if you guys are on 16 or 17, that's not going to work. So as long as Autodesk supports 3 versions back and all versions support this feature, we're going to have beta there. So if you're utilizing that feature, select, or if you're utilizing 18 or 19, feel free to check that, or even 20 now. So then we'll click save and export. So I'm not going to export this entire project here, but depending on your project size, this could take anywhere from 30 seconds to a couple of hours if you're on a massive project. Because of the sheer size of large projects, a lot of our customers will actually choose to set up the export scheduler on a virtual machine. So if you're going to set it up on a VM, we can come over to this export scheduler. You could choose to set it up on one person's machine. The problem being is if they're outside of the office or gone and there's an issue, you have a little bit more challenges trying to get that fixed. However, if we want to set this up, it'll actually launch Revit by itself, even if it's shut down, export your project, and then shut Revit back down. This also works with BIM 360 design as well. So here we're going to select what we'd like to see, the dates we'd like to export our project, and simply select our time. And we're going to click OK. And that's going to schedule that export, and it's going to be pushing that out on a daily basis with all the new sheets and geometry that you've included within that Revit file. So without spending a ton of time in Revit, we're going to jump right into some of the basic features in Revizto, and then we're going to show kind of the collaboration between Revit and Revizto. So here's our project that we just exported into Revizto. As we start to navigate around here, being technical in Revit, I'd actually come over here and select Preferences, come to Navigation, and you can come over to Revit Navigation Mode. So this is going to allow us to navigate just like we are in Revit. We can pivot and move just like we're in Revit. Otherwise, we have our game engine functionality. That's probably our most popular, which is the WAD and S key. So just jumping right into here, you can see kind of the simplicity comparative to navigating a 3D model inside of Revit. A lot easier to do things like sectioning, identifying object data, etc. So if I just click on this pipe, we can see all the metadata that came in from that Revit family. As well as if we want to section here, all we have to do is grab this little sectioning tool. Very, very simple. Drag, drop, let go. And again, we're sectioning on this plane. If we want to section on this floor, we just double click and pull up, and we can kind of navigate and section that specific area. Another cool thing that a few of our users maybe haven't seen, but it's been in Revizto for a long time now, is if we were to select a piece of geometry and select the section button, it's actually going to section that around that specific object. And then we can select how big we'd like to see or how much of that we'd like to see as well. So again, that's our sectioning button right underneath this scissors tool. So I'm going to select home, come back to our home button here. And we're going to go through our measuring button next. So again, very simple to be able to pull dimensions here. Just grab this measuring tool. We can calculate, the specific elevation just by dragging this. We can select a specific distance between different objects. And then we can change based on what we'd like to see. So feet, millimeters, etc. We can also check minimum distances as well. So we'll just grab our minimum distance, grab one object, grab another object, and it's going to calculate the minimum distance between those two Revit families. The other really cool thing about navigation within Revizto is there's a number of different ways. So here in the 3D portion of the platform, if we press M on our keyboard or this map button, both of the same thing, we'll select it and it's going to tell us our current elevation. So here we're at 75 meters. Come in and we can select the specific elevation we'd like to see, and it's going to recut that to that specific elevation. So let's come down here, grab a ceiling level. Another cool thing is that your Revit room names actually come in here. So we can see office 134, 133. And if we want to navigate to that specific area, we can just double click anywhere on the map. So the way Revizto works is off of the X, Y, Z coordinates. And because of that, it's going to take us to that specific elevation. So if I were to press M on my keyboard again, I can see that my new elevation is 74 meters. So if I jump over to here, it's going to take us at 74 meters. However, if I were to come down into somewhere else in the project, just get lost here for a second and press M again, you're going to see our new elevation of where we're located, plus the room name that's associated with it. So Revizto really functions off of the XYZ coordinate information. So typically what we see of Revit users prior to utilizing Revizto is they're going to jump into Revit. They're going to identify a specific problem area, usually with a screenshot or snippet. Some will push that to a Google Doc. Others will take that into a PDF markup software and then email it. So we have a number of different ways to communicate problems, design issues, coordination issues while working in Revit. So the beauty of Revizto is we're really taking the whole idea of BIM and trying to allow other non-technical users to get into the platform and communicate, so our entire platform is leveraging the XYZ coordinate information. So a really good example of that is we all export to PDF from our sheets within Revit. However, those sheets have intelligent data within Revit. However, when we convert to the personal document format, we lose all that information. So here's a really prime example. This may appear as a PDF to you. However, this is actually intelligent. And how do we know that? We select Jump to 3D. This specific fire plan actually has a Z elevation, so we know where that's located on the actual model. However, when we convert to the personal document format, we actually lose that intelligent data. So if I select Jump to 3D, double click, it's going to take us that specific elevation. And this holds true for any other plan that's been exported from Revit. So we'll just jump over. You can see that these sheets are actually correlating with the link sheets from Revit. So here's all my link sheets. That's why you're seeing double room names in some cases in there as well. That was an issue or a mistake I made. But I'm going to jump back into here, into Revizto, and we're going to come over here, select a different plan. And again, if we want to come here, our plumbing plan, jump to 3D, let's check out these pipes. We can just double click and it's going to take us specifically to that area of the model. And then we can navigate around. Another thing, because these are intelligent sheets, is you're going to see this live section. So sections, details, elevations, we can just click it and it's going to show us exactly where that section, detail, or sheet came from. So let's just zoom into here real quick and it's going to clear that up. Right now I'm actually just on a laptop, so most of your workstations are going to perform a lot better than this small laptop that I'm leveraging today. But we can see exactly how those line up, compare it to the model. We can detach the sheet. We can pull some of that data through that sheet. So a lot of beauty to being able to leverage that intelligent data. We will focus one more thing on the 2D, which pertains to issues, but we're going to come back to that at the end. So again, coming back to our original way of creating issues, typically we go to our snippet tool and we're going to take a snip of whatever 2D or 3D issue that we're having on our plan, and then we're going to email it. Again, there's no tracking mechanism to organizing your snippets within your email, and there's no way to really pull any data out of that because it's truly a dumb screenshot. It's a little bit ironic that we spend so much time in Revit putting all this data in there, yet by just pulling out our snippet tool and emailing it, we lose the ability to pull any of that fundamental data out of the model for our benefit later on in our project. So first off, we'll create an issue within Revizto. I'm going to go back to our home button. And we're just going to find a quick issue within here. I'm going to leverage a couple of the buttons we just showed earlier here. So let's come up maybe in the ceiling plan here. We'll just grab this duct, maybe this piece here. We'll section it and we'll say, you know what? I don't know if this meets what we're going for. So we're just going to come in here and create an issue. I'm going to use our stamps, which are predetermined issues. This is how most of our users are doing this. We're going to come in and say, you know what? This is a electrical issue we discovered, and this is a code violation. So I'm just going to drop that stamp. Automatically, you can actually see that it's assigned to, in this case, our electrical person, which just happens to be myself. But for simplicity, I'm actually going to come in here and add, click on Luke today. Luke's going to be our guy. And then we can see that it's already tagged subcontractor, electrical contractor, a couple of the tags that we had in automatically. We have an option to send that to Procore. And then we have a specific date and deadline and a priority level this has been set to. So from here, I can choose to edit this specific markup, just like we would in a standard PDF. We'll say test video. We'll call this GSA. So as we mark this up and select done, you're going to see throughout the life cycle of this issue, everything is timestamped. So at 1:25 p.m., Mark created this issue. 1 minute later, I added this markup. So now if I choose to mark this up again, we'll do something really obnoxious here for visual purposes, and I'm going to select done. We'll notice that between our original issue right here with test GSA and our next issue, we can see the difference. So issue 1, 2, and 3, and any collaborative information you want to add to that. So, hey Luke, can you please have a look? And we're gonna assign that back to Luke, as you can see right here. So we talked about the intelligent 2D having an additional benefit. So again, on the left side, you can see we're looking at this code violation assigned to Luke. There's a cube, so we know that was created in 3D. If it was created in 2D, it'd be a single pane. We can go to 3D, and we have the ability to see all that data. We can actually jump into here. We can unsection it. We could take a better look around, see what's highlighted, click on some of the data around there. We can also jump back into the issue tracker. We see that specific issue. We say, you know what? I wonder where that's located on my plan. Well, because of the intelligent data, it's going to show us exactly where that specific issue is on our plan. And not just our service ductwork plan, but any plan that shares the same XYZ value. So let's come in here and check out our ground floor. And we can see specifically where that issue is. So that is the beauty of leveraging intelligent sheets instead of sheets that we lose all that data from. And that's why we directly import those from your Revit model. So you can see on this specific plan, there's only a handful of issues that are on that specific plan, but we have our blinking issue of that code violation right here. So, as we kind of spoke of earlier, Revizto is a lot like Navisworks in the sense that you cannot fix issues within here. You need to go back to the design platform to move that family, make that design change so our contractual documents follow suit. So, with that specific issue, I'm going to jump back into Revit. Most of our users leveraging Revit are going to have Revit as their primary monitor and Revizto as their secondary monitor. So they're looking at both. So we're going to select Issue Tracker. And we're going to come up to this code violation. So I'm going to try to split our screen here and do this as best as possible here so you guys can kind of see how well this works. So what I'm going to do is just double click. So all I've done here is select Issue Tracker. And when I click this Issue Tracker button, it's basically saying, hey, I would like to see this specific issue inside of my Revit model. This functions the same for Civil 3D. It works for Navisworks. It works for AutoCAD. So again, we're going to double click on this. And it doesn't matter what platform we're in. If I was in Tekla, it would function the same way. And bam, there we have it. So we can see this specific issue with that markup, and it's actually created an isometric view for us. So I can make that design change. And as a designer, I'm only going to have the ability to move this to in progress or solved. Those are set up in our project parameters, and if you want to see more detail on that, we have a separate video just on setting up parameters and project rights. So I'm going to move this to in progress as Luke is going to be fixing this. In this example, I'm pretending to be Luke, the designer now, and I'm going to work on this. Once I've updated this specific issue, and I feel that I've addressed it in our RVT file, I'm going to move this to solved. So this file's been addressed, and now we can move on to any other issue that we have. So jump into here, and we got a couple other issues that are going on here. Here's another issue. We double click on it, and it's actually just going to replace this view. You can see the Revizto isometric view has been replaced. So it's actually not creating an additional view or bogging down your Revit with multiple views. If you want to create or save this as a working view, feel free to do that. So again, you can see this specific screenshot from Nate, and here's where it correlates to our Revit model. You obviously don't have the ability to do that with a dumb screenshot and an email. So now for tracking and addressing and making sure that these issues have been addressed, typically the BIM manager on the project is going to set up a filter or a preset is what we call them. Today I'm going to do it manually just to show you how that process works instead of going to one of my predefined presets. So right now I'm just going to say, you know what, I want to see all of our issues that are in solve status. So stall status, as what we kind of discussed earlier, means the design team says that they've addressed that back in Revit. So here's all of our issues back inside of Revit. You can see some of the 2D issues as well as some of the 3D issues as well. So here's an issue that we've created. It looks like it's ready to be addressed. So I can just double click on here as the BIM manager because I'm looking just at our solved issues on level 2. And it takes us right to that specific area within the model. Looks like this is actually still colliding with those structural beams, so I'm actually going to move this back to in progress. So I'm going to make a note. Hey guys, looks like we have not fixed this yet. So we can still see that we have 493 total project issues ready to be signed off on. I'm going to actually create one more filter and say, you know what, we just want to see project issues that are assigned to AECOM. So in this example, AECOM just has one. So we can reset this filter, verify if that specific issue has been addressed. Looks like it was created in a 2D environment, and we can see any of the additional notes on there. So with that being said, if we're within Revit, and let's just use the same example, we're working in here, we actually identified that this is going to be a problem. This isn't constructible, so we don't need to necessarily go back and find this issue within Revizto. We can document this just like we created a screenshot in Revit. So the beauty of the screenshot is how simple it is just to grab the snippet tool, send it off to somebody, and they can visually identify where that is. But Revit to Revit usage is absolutely massive inside of Revizto. So again, what we have to do is just come here, hit new issue. And the beauty of this is it actually takes a screenshot for you. This is not a dumb screenshot, however. So let's just say test Revit video. We're gonna come in here, we'll just mark this up and say, hey guys, let's fix this. And we can add in a bunch of different notes that we have here. So after I've created those specific issues on here, we can change the color, etc. And I'm just going to select done. So we'll add in a couple comments here. And what you'll notice is, unlike a dumb screenshot, if we select 3D, it's actually going to take us to that 3D location of where that problem is actually occurring within Revizto. So here's exactly where that is. Well, maybe we want to understand better where that falls on our plan. Select 2D. It's going to show us exactly where it falls on that plan, but not just the plan, the mechanical plan, but also our plumbing plan. We might also want to know what elevation that is, so we can just press M on our keyboard. It's going to give us our elevation. So again, it's just taking all this data that you guys already have within Revit and allowing us to better understand and bring other people that maybe not be technical in Revit into the project. So the last thing that we're going to go through is our reporting functionality. So again, we've tracked all this based off of data, and maybe we want to report on this and see a quick snapshot. So if we select this little button up here, we can jump up into our reporting features. And the beauty of Revizto is is its intelligent reporting. So if I make a change and in 30 seconds later I pull a report, it's automatically in there. So we don't have to do anything additional within here. So we'll jump in here. I'm not sure exactly why I changed my settings to Spanish. However, we are a global company that supports 7 different languages. So for any of your multi-global projects, certainly we have that capability. So within our issue assignee, we can see the specific issues, the graphs, and as we change and manipulate the status or create new issues, this graph will fundamentally change. We can create multiple tests per project, and that data is always live and up to date based off of the metadata originating from, in this case, your Revit model. So hopefully that helps show you the benefit of why users should be utilizing Revizto and Revit combined on their projects and some of the benefits. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at Revizto, and we'd be happy to help. Thanks, guys.